Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Peace and blessing to the chosen. All praise to the Most High. We here again, family. All praise and glory and honor go to the Most High. Drop a 7 in the comment for me. Let me know the audio coming through clearly. Before I start, drop the 7 in the comments for me. Let me know audio coming through clearly. Drop a 7 for me.
Richer than I ever been.
Recover. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Yeah.
Shalom, shalom, peace and blessing. Drop the 7 for me. Trying to make sure the audio coming through clearly before we get into the message. Somebody let me know the audio clear. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Yes, indeed.
All praise to the Most High.
Shabbat shalom.
Richer than I ever been before. Than I ever been. I'm supposed to be dead. Made it out the trap like Daniel in a lion's den. Watch rain like the weatherman. Yeah, fresher than a plug of men. They think I'm selling drugs again. 12 gates, 12 tribes, the outer courts for the Gentiles. If they ain't Jacob, got a buzz of men. And my spirit bear witness to the blood of Shem. Hamashiach be the rock, I shoot above the rim. My people underprivileged say we would never win. Demasculate our men through sword turns to estrogen. Snakes will stab you in the back with the helping hand. The great I am who protects the brand. Through a walk, I detect the scams and the scammers. Wars bananas in pajamas, now bananas in our hammers. Unequally yoked, man, I had to scramble. Menorah flame consume that jack-o'-lantern. They'll call and check on you not cause they concerned. Hoping that it's stress on you, they just trying to confirm. Can't be laying down with everybody. What is you thinking? STDs ain't just diseases, sexually transmitted demons. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I studied great minds, made wine out of everything I heard through the grapevine. I'm high of life, not even a plane or Mary Jane can get you to this height. Will they miss me when I die? When I'm dead and gone, when they can't see my smile, it ain't no more new songs. Even my haters hurt. It was their job to ridicule me and I gave them work. Keep pushing through it, ain't no profit in stopping. Got the prodigies watching, make the colonists copy. Psalm 91 and 7, all these bodies keep dropping. I ain't been grazed since my odyssey started. 10,000 angels guard me as I travel places uncharted. 4 and 16 Galatians, guess that make me a target. Assassinated Martin, keep my arrowhead sharp in. Baptized straight up out that water like a shark's fin. Bloodline, royalty more deeper than my dark skin. Tears cried, drug throughout the mud, that's where my heart been. Wartime, only reason that you see me marching. Purified, position solidified, integrity dignified. 12 tribes identified, verses precepts memorized. Curses we get penalized, neighborhoods got gentrified. Churches helped in our demise. Research every bar and line. The truth out there ain't hard to find. Health is well, please take care of yourself. And I love you if you ain't heard it from nobody else.
praise to the Most High. All praises, glory, and honor go to the Most High, the creator of the heavens, the earth, the seas, everything that's in them, family. His goodness, he found it. He found us worthy. That his pleasure be poured out on us, that we see this Shabbat, that we see this day, that we see this hour, that we see this minute, and not us ourselves. It's only by his grace and his commandment and decree that we be sustained and still be in the land of the living today. You know what I mean? Well, we still had an opportunity to repent, to change our ways, to please him, you know, and still strive for the kingdom. And there's a lot of people who right now battling with different types of spirits, and one in particular usually talked about as the month has been robbed and given honor to be Pride Month. You know what I'm saying? The month to glorify, to acknowledge, to recognize people in an alternative and abominable lifestyle, which is not of the Most High. I say this in truth and in fact, not for condemnation, or because the judgment belongs to the Most High. However, he also let us know what the judgment will be if we die in that sin. Likewise, a whole lot of other sins. Even like within the song, I said, the soil that breaks down an estrogen. This is a reason for why so many men right now in today's time, you know, they operate in female and feminine ways. You know, so they got feminine behavior and mannerisms. A lot of them. Aside from that, you got a chemical called atrazine. I did a message about this. Well, you had a doctor, well, scientists rather. They given frogs this atrazine. And over time, so much of the atrazine causes the male frog to mutate into a female frog. And another male frog, also consuming this atrazine, starts to mate with the other male frog. So now we're talking about this same chemical being put into the water supply. The same chemical being put into our food, our fruits. That happened in California. And so it's spread out. You know what I mean? But the root of it, aside from science and chemicals, it's a spiritual thing, man. It's an evil spirit. It's a demon. You know what I mean? No sugar coats, no way around it. It's not natural. It's not a part of the plan of the Most High. It doesn't withhold or promote life. One of the first commandments the Most High gave to humankind was be fruitful and multiply. People can't reproduce with two of the same genders, two males or two females. All of that is abominable. It's against the Most High, and the judgment of it ends in the lake of fire and brimstone. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not oblivious to the fact that you got people in those lifestyles, as I done said over the years. A lot of them got into those lifestyles because something happened to them. Nonetheless, with that being true and being a fact, it's no excuse. It still don't make it an excuse, because we living in a time where they have homosexual parades. They have LGBTQ plus parades. And I've been the one to prophesy against the spirit, with brother. What did I see when I was down there? I saw grown men, grown women, nude. And guess who else was present? Children. So exposing children and other generations to this same nasty and abominable spirit, to keep it going, to keep the cycle going. And that's what Satan wants. That's what he want to use them for. We seen the video in time past where they say, well, we're coming for your children. They had a song about it and everything, family. Reading and teaching, you had transgenders. They removed the ability to pray the 10 commandments out the school system. Don't bring the Bibles to school. Don't discuss religion in school. They removed that, right? And then what they rolled in was transgenders reading to the children at the libraries. Then they also came with after school Satan. So remove the Most High out of the equation so that you can bring in or flood in adverse spirits, satanic spirits, disgusting spirits. Why? Because they want to put it off on the next generation to keep their cycle going. All right. We want to be astute to those things. Now, a lot of people don't know that, believe it or not, in this day and time. Or if you're tuning in from another country, I'm giving you insight on what's happening in the U.S. It's not fresh. It's been going on for years. I can even recall back when I was in elementary, Memphis, Tennessee, they had a thing called GTO. When I first heard it, you know what I mean, the sound of it, the way it was talked about, was like it was a gang or something. You know what I mean? And come to find out, it stood for gays taking over. This back when I'm in elementary. And not only was it at my elementary school, it was at middle schools throughout the city. Coming from a time period where it wasn't so many gay people openly showing their gayness. You know what I mean? It was a shameful thing. They hid it. They even had the term coming out the closet. You know what I'm saying? People they weren't around here boasting about being homosexuals. But now in today's time, because of magic, because of evil spirits, because of media, because of politicians, i.e. Obama, agreeing to it and promoting it, you know, people that wax even more confident and shameless in their homosexuality, man. Matter of fact, let me pull up this verse. They declare their sin as Sodom. They declare their sin as Sodom. Isaiah 3. Isaiah chapter 3. But pride is rooted within their spirit, man. And so we'll go through the scriptures, prayerfully by the utterance and the unction of the Most High, to get some clarity. And if you're dealing with a homosexual spirit, you're dealing with a transgender spirit, you're dealing with which really it ain't no such thing as being bisexual. You either gay or you're not. And they come with all these scientific terms. Well, he's asexual. Well, she's these all they got like 50, 100 plus different type of terms, and all of that is to confuse people. None of it is of the Most High. The Most High said in the beginning, He made us male and female. It's only two genders, man. Anything outside of that and in between that, man, is coming from the adversary. Isaiah chapter 3, though. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 9, right on the head of it. It says, the show of their countenance do witness against them. So we talking about, you got drag queens. You got females that's operating with the mindset and mentality to be butches or dykes. And I don't know, YouTube don't flag me, or if you do, you know, the word of the Most High gonna go forth regardless. But it say the show of their countenance do witness against them. So their outward appearance. You got grown men going into stores, violent, mad at the cashier because the cashier addressed him as sir, instead of addressing him as ma'am. All right, and some along with that, man, years ago, before it was accepted, you know what I mean, commonly in society, man, it was recognized that people who operate with that spirit, same gender attraction, that it was a mental issue. They had a mental problem. So then they took that off the books. They took it from the scientific codes, and they started saying, well, because they can't function, even though they have this problem, we're just going to say it's not a problem altogether. You know what I'm saying? But the verse said that the show of their countenance do witness against them. And they declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves by choosing that lifestyle. That's exactly what the devil wants. So if you ever saw the Baphomet picture, the image of is like a goat head with a man's body, female chest, or like another creature's, lower torso, male and female. That's what's going on. The enemy want people to be so confused about gender and the clarity and simplicity in the power of the Most High, to everybody end up being destroyed because you don't know the path that lead to life. That's his whole plan and goal. They dressing it up now and rolling it out that it's cool, it's okay. It's just a preference. All right, and the segue of it leads to where we see in a high level now, where they gave it a term, minor attracted. Where you're talking about adults being attracted to children. And all of this, family, coming from those who at the behest of making these rules and promoting this stuff and controlling the programming of TV and media. It's these Jewish people, man. And the teachings that they have from the Talmud and the Kabbalah. This is what they saying that they agree to in their records and documents, saying that, well, it's okay to do these things, and it's not. All right, so, but what I want to do is, always contending with the wickedness and the darkness of it. We're going to go through the word of the Most High. We're going to see what the Most High got to say about it. So, despite of people think, well, that's old information, old history, that's not something that can be applied in today's time. Man, Satan is a liar, man. All right, so I'm gonna go. Let's go here to Sirach, man. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, because the title of every word that it could have been given, right, of every adjective that could describe the movement and the month. Guess what they call it? Pride Month. The Pride Month. And let's see what the scriptures say about Pride Month. Sirach or Ecclesiastic is coming out the Apocrypha, coming out this book here. Chapter 10, verse 12 says, the beginning of pride is when one departeth from a higher, and his heart is turned away from his maker. So the beginning of pride, that spirit come in, a person accept it, and it can get in through many ways. So many different ways. But once it's accepted, this is the beginning when a person starts to part from the Most High. This when you get to seeing these folks look real freakish. They got a bunch of nose rings and 1,000 earrings. They got 1,000 tongue rings. They got the snake bite. They even go forth. Now they getting all type of colors in their head. All of this stuff play a part. Remember what we read in Isaiah 3:9. Their countenance gonna tell you who they is. So the world say that you can't judge a book by its cover. That's what the world say. But if we astute and understand the Holy Spirit, man, we got the power of discernment. We had a gift of discernment to know, yeah, I can make a judgment call, not about your soul, but to identify that you dealing with an adverse spirit by your shell. It say a man will be known by his walk, his gait, and excessive laughter, his clothes and his apparel. That's what the book tells us too. So these people coming with these adages in society that's being applied, accepted, and used, where people operating in the world through this lens, believing that you can't judge a book by its cover. They not getting that information, or it didn't originate from the Holy Spirit, man. Right here is telling us the Father's words say the beginning of pride is when one departs from his maker, man, from the Most High. They don't want nothing to do with him because they know his incorruptible spirit being put in all things, they get convicted. It's a conviction. That's why when you talk to some people about it, not all of them, they get angry. They get very mad. They don't want to hear that. They don't want nothing to do with anything that's pertaining to the Most High, because it reminds them that, man, this is sin. This is an abomination. And it's a judgment for it. And if you're dealing with that spirit and you tuning in, it's not to condemn you, but rather to encourage it You repent from that sin. You can be free from that stronghold. You can turn your life around. Many have done it and many are doing it. The key gonna be the word. Verse 13 though, it says, for pride is the beginning of sin. And he that hath it shall pour out abomination. And therefore the Most High brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly. The Most High hath cast down the thrones of proud princes and set up the meek in their stead. The Most High have plucked up the roots of the proud nations and planted the lowly in their place. The Most High overthrew countries of the heathen and destroyed them to the foundations of the earth. He took some of them away and destroyed them and have made their memorial to cease from the earth. Verse 18, pride was not made for men, nor furious anger for them that are born of a woman. We were never supposed to adopt that mentality or that spirit. Satan came and brought it in, and so many people welcomed it. And then you see the results of it. Pride become the lens of how they live their life. This is how they deal with people. This is the inspiration and the motivation behind every act and every thought, everything they say, everything, the whole lifestyle. But right here it say pride wasn't even made for us. So that spirit a lot of times turn into homosexuality because the one who started it, Satan. He want to do anything that's against the Most High. Then check this out, man. I seen something that came out recently dealing with Chud the Builder, right? You get a transgender that come out saying that, well, yeah, I had dealings with Chud the Builder. And if you're familiar with Chud the Builder, this was this Caucasian guy in Tennessee going around trying to provoke, melanated people, brown folks, the children of Israel, by calling them the N-word. Hoping to get a response from him where he'd kill him. This was his whole thing. He all on live talking about it on Twitch. This dude was prideful about his skin tone and who he is. But come to find out, the transgender showing receipts, got text messages with him, got pictures with him of him dealing with that spirit can spawn into anything, man. Anything ungodly and unholy. But let's keep going. Let's go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs 16. Proverbs chapter 16, family. Pride. The beginning when people part from the Most High. Morality starts to shrink, decay, decrease, and disappear. Proverbs 16. Let's see. Yep. Proverbs 16, verse 18. It says, pride goeth before destruction. And we're going to get the example of it. A lot of people heard about the Sodom and Gomorrah, but not aware of the fact that not only did he destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, but it was the neighboring cities. It was 5 cities total. All right. And we're going to get into the fact that over the years, commonly is understood that the Most High destroyed those cities based off homosexual activity. But that's not the only case, man. It was way more wickedness than just them committing sexual immorality. We're going to get the details. Proverbs 16 and 18 says, pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. Magnifying themselves, lifting themselves up. So much so, being given authority to a level where they could counsel you. If you speak against them, they have the ability to say, well, we're going to cause you to lose your job and your living seat. What happened with the rapper? He said that, he didn't want no dinners with no homosexual. They ain't no blackballing to do. Anytime you speak, it's like a homosexual mafia, man. And I mean exactly that, because this was not understood. When we go into this story about Sodom and Gomorrah, And the men that was in there, that was in the city, that was homosexual, these weren't no dudes who was just soft, man. These was big dudes, man, like big, The Rock. You know what I'm saying? And ain't no coincidence when you look at Dwayne Johnson, the things that he said, him and Kevin Hart, in skits of Saturday Night Live, man, these dudes got adverse spirits, man. Some people think that because these dudes lift so much weights and they big and strong, man, they're wrestling. You know what I'm saying? There was some me and bro was talking about years ago. A lot of these wrestlers, bro, it be so much gay stuff going on. So many rituals. They got to have rites. They have to go through a ritual in order to obtain a certain level of popularity and fame, you know what I mean, to be able to have a lot of it. All right, so pride goes before destruction. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. And this is the spiritual aspect of it. In so many ways, I'll say this, I use the word vibration and energy. Vibration and energy of a place or a person can ascend up into heaven where it gets the attention of the Most High. All right, so for example, when Cain slew his brother Abel, he said his blood cried out to the Most High. It cried out from the earth. All right, and we're going to get more of that. Let me go here to, let's go to Genesis. Let's go to Genesis. So we want to get the origin. Let's go to the beginning. The beginning of how did Sodom and Gomorrah, these cities, even come about? I'm in Genesis chapter 6, family. Genesis chapter 6. And it's so much, man. It's so much that can be said. I'm just trying to lay out what comes to mind that I can, you know, during this message. I'm sure y'all got so much that y'all can add. I'm sure y'all do. I'm in Genesis 6, though. Verse 9 says, these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with the Most High. This is the report that we want. It says, and Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. All right, and we're going here because this is during that time period where the deluge happened. Well, if you go in a chapter prior, it'll tell you every thought of every imagination was only evil continually. So it's so much sin and wickedness in the earth. But these 8 souls, Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives, were preserved from the flood that the Most High sent on the earth. Now, all praise to the Most High. Now, this goes into the rainbow. The Most High flooded the earth. He allowed it to rain 40 days and 40 nights, so much so everything, even the tops of the mountains, the highest peak of the highest mountain was covered underwater. After the water swayed, the Most High made a covenant not only with Noah and mankind, but with all the animals on the earth. And that covenant said, I'll never flood the earth again. And the token of it is the rainbow. This same rainbow has been hijacked by these people, this group of people, population of people who chose that lifestyle and still choose it to this day. They say, we're going to use this rainbow as our symbol. So much so, I didn't say it before, you got people who, man, they scared. They afraid to even wear a rainbow on their clothes because they like, man, somebody might associate me with being a gay person. They hijacked it, which in itself is a great sin. You done took something that the Most High meant for good and changed it to something abominable. So this same rainbow, bent by the hands of the Creator, he said, look, man, when you see this, you don't have to be afraid because I ain't going to destroy the earth like that no more. This is the covenant that he made with us. And you don't have, it don't even have to rain. You can be washing your car, water on the ground, on the sidewalk, in the street, and you will see a rainbow. You can see a rainbow in your cup. You know what I mean? So that's his goodness. But the adverse side of things, these people came because Satan say he gonna be like the Most High. He want to do everything opposite of the Most High. He want to try to take anything that the Most High pronounced to be good and turn it to something wicked. All right? But back into this, Genesis 6, right? It says, and Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Verse 11, the earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence. So we're going here so that we can get some understanding on Sodom and Gomorrah. So we're going to take it slow. I'm coming out of this book right here. Zondervan Comeback Bible Dictionary. So Noah survived the flood, him and his 3 sons, and we need to know, in a sense, well, what line, because the earth was repopulated through these 3 men and their wives. Sodom and Gomorrah, does it spawn from the bloodline of Shem, Ham, or Japheth? We're going to find out. All right, so in the Bible Dictionary, Zondervan Bible Dictionary, the definition of Ham says, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. All right, so we can let that register and marinate in your spirit. We didn't descend from the bloodline of Ham. Like you got certain people that teach this, say, well, we the children of Ham, so we cursed. No, they lying, man. But notice you got to also take in consideration in this definition. Said he became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negro. Let you know that Ham is dark too. All right. But the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. I want y'all to keep that in mind as we go through this message. And for these steps that we're about to take here, or to identify. It said that the progenitor, or the father of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Ethiopians, the Libyans, the Egyptians, and the Canaanites. All right. Continuing on, let's go to Genesis 13. Genesis 13. So Noah had 3 sons. All right, and we keeping up with Ham right here. Genesis 13. No, my fault, y'all. Let me get Genesis 10. Yeah, I want Genesis 10. My fault, y'all. She like it. So excuse me. Genesis 10 and 1. It says, now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and unto them were sons born after the flood. So we get this background information. They had sons after the flood. I'm jumping down to verse 6. It says, and the sons of Ham, Cush, Mitzrayim, and Phut, and Canaan. So these are the same. Mitzrayim is Egypt, Cush, Phut, and Canaan. So these Egyptians, Libyans, Ethiopian, Canaanite, just like what we read in the Zondervan Bible or dictionary. So Ham's son, keep that in mind. Canaan is a son of Ham. Phut is a son of Ham, or Put. Mitzrayim or Egypt is a son of Ham, along with Cush. All right, so I'm jumping down, same chapter, Genesis 10. You know what? I want to read this too. No, I'm gonna go ahead. All right, let's go here to verse 15. It says, and Canaan begot Zidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite. And for those who don't know, Jebusites are the original inhabitants of the land that we call Jerusalem. All right. It says, in the Amorite and the Girgasite, in the Havite and the Archite and the Sinite and the Arvadite and the Zamarite and the Hamathite, and afterward were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad. Watch this, verse 19. And the border of the Canaanites was from Zidon, as thou comest to Gerar unto Gaza, as thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah, and Admah, and Zeboam, even unto Lasha. All right, so the lands of the Canaanites and these children of Ham, it included Sodom and Gomorrah. So the inhabitants of those cities were Hamites. Verse 20 says, these are the sons of Ham, after their families, after their tongues, in their countries, and in their nations. So these people, they not our people that's dwelling in Sodom and Gomorrah. They're not the children of Israel, man. And that's going to play a part in this message. Stick with it. All righty. I'm going to Genesis 13. So as we fast forward the story, we get to Sodom and Gomorrah. We go on this way to see where did Sodom and Gomorrah start from. And then we know that it was destroyed. What was the sin of it? All right, we want some clarity. All right, so Abraham, or Abram at this time, who he don't come from Ham, he descended from Shem. This is the same land that the children of Israel or we descend from. So this is what happened with him. He was commanded by the Most High, leave your father's house and your land, and I'm going to have you to go out somewhere else. When Abram left, obeying the Most High, he took his nephew Lot with him. All right, so we're in Genesis 13. Just giving y'all the backstory. You see, Genesis 13, let me get with, I'll start with one. It says, and Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. So he was a wealthy man. It says he went on his journeys from the south, even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of the altar, which he had made there at the first, and there Abram called on the name of the Most High. And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. So both of these men, they got substance, man. And it's going to play a part in where we're going. Verse 6, it says, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together. For their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelled then in the land. So there they go again, the children of Ham in the land. It says, and Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herd, for we be brethren. Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Most High destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Most High, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. So the land is lush, is beautiful. This is what Lot is seeing. This was before the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Verse 11, then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. And Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. Verse 13, but the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Most High exceedingly. They were wicked and they were sinners before the Most High. This means beyond, family. They beyond evil. And again, the common understanding about why the Most High destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah is because they said it because people was gay. It was homosexuality. But it's way more than that. And that's what we're finna get into. So right so far, what we didn't establish is that this land that's inhabited by these Canaanites are children of Ham. It's going to come back into play when we go into the Torah. See what the Most High said, what he told us. Shabbat Shalom, family. Let's get Joshua 10 and 13. Joshua chapter 10, verse 13. Shabbat. Let's see. Joshua chapter 10, verse 13. Hold on. Hold up. Joshua chapter 10, verse 13. Hold up. Let me get there. It's before Judges. Yep. It says, and the sun stood still and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven and hasted not to go down about a whole day. Going here for that part right there, we extracting where it says, not this written in the book of Jasher? So we want the details. We want the details of why did the scriptures tell us that these men were exceedingly, you know what I'm saying, before the Most High, they were exceedingly wicked, exceedingly sinners. Yep, there's going to be a lot of reading right here. We're going to eat right here. So I'm going into Joshua. Going into Joshua so we can gain some more clarity. I'm in Joshua chapter 18. This is where I'm starting it. Joshua chapter 18. Let me see something. Joshua chapter 18, where I'm starting it. Our lunch pad was what we read right there in Genesis. Genesis 13 about them, the men of Sodom being sinners, you know, and exceedingly wicked before the Most High. So we're finna see why it say that. We're gonna get examples of how they was exceeding wicked. Joshua 18 verse 11 say, in those days all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah and of the whole 5 cities were exceedingly wicked and sinful against the Most High. And they provoked the Most High with their abominations. And they strengthened in aging abominably and scornfully before the Most High. And their wickedness and crimes were in those days great before the Most High. So these people waxed in their age. They got older and older. And the older they got, the more evil they became. The more wicked they became. And they scorned the Most High, so they spoke against him. They didn't want no dealings with the Creator. Verse 12. It says, and they had in their land a very extensive valley, about half a day's walk. And in it there were fountains of water and a great deal of herbage surrounding the water. And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah went there 4 times in a year, with their wives and children and all belonging to them. And they rejoiced there with timbrels and dances. So whole families is coming to this place, this location, right? 14 says, and in the time of rejoicing, they will all rise and lay hold of their neighbors' wives, and some the virgin daughters of their neighbors. And they enjoyed them. And each man saw his wife and daughter in the hands of his neighbor and did not say a word. All right, so this is a level of wickedness, sickness, immorality. Said these people do this 4 times a year. The man looking at his wife, his daughter, dealing with somebody else, and he ain't saying a word. They all just taking part in this. And the thing about it, family, A lot of these pagan days had its same origin. We're talking about Saturnalia, talking about Christmas, really. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that stuff spawned from this same activity. They learned it from this. Remember what I said earlier, the powers that be, those who in key positions that's making amendments and laws, and all, they serve Canaanite gods, man. These folks honor and glorify Canaanite gods. So if they serve and worship a Canaanite god, they take part in practicing commandments and lifestyles that honor this same Canaanite god. Continuing on though. It says, and they did so from morning to night. These folks sick with it. It says, and they afterward returned home, each man to his house, and each woman to her tent. So they always did 4 times in a year. And, you know, I'm going to moderate my speech in a sense because of how many, you know, different age groups. But y'all get the picture, man. This is outside of the homosexuality, man. It's one of those things. It didn't give us an age right here of how old or how young they were. It just said that they all came and this was the activities that they took part in. This is what so many people in the world right now would really love for the state of the world to be in. They would love for this to just be an everyday thing. But all praises to the Most High for his spirit and him having servants and righteous rebels who are going to speak out against this stuff, who are going to contend against this stuff, who are going to condemn these activities and actions. But what the world will do is try to have us to be silent. Hey, don't say that. You're going to offend them. So I got to accept the adverse lifestyle that these people choosing to live. I got to accept that and be quiet and let them just push that off on my children and my nephews and nieces and other people in the world. I got to get bullied? Man, that ain't going to be so. Nah, we ain't going, man. All right, so we right now dealing with it it's a high level, but it can be a lot worse. All right, continuing on, verse 16 says, also when a stranger came into their cities and brought goods, which he had purchased with a view to dispose of them, the people of these cities would assemble, men, women, and children, young and old, and go to the man and take his goods by force. This is another evil now. It says, giving a little to each man until there was an end to all the goods of the owner, which he had brought into the land. This is a stranger. He's not from there. Men, women, and children run up, take his goods, whatever possessions he got, and they part it amongst themselves, and they do so unto the point where there's none left. Verse 17 says, and if the owner of the goods quarreled with them, so if he got something to say, hey man, y'all drop my stuff out, hey, get my stuff, man. You can't take my belongings. If he try to contend with them at all, saying, what is this work which you have done to me? Then they will approach him one by one, and each will show him the little which he took and taunt him, saying, I only took that little which thou didst give me. And when he heard this from them all, he would arise and go from them in sorrow and bitterness of soul. When they would all arise and go after him and drive him out of the city with great noise and tumult. So these people would take from him and then turn around and mock him. This is aside from the homosexuality. And this is a bully spirit. I'm going to take something from you. And then I'm going to turn around and mock you. You shouldn't be saying nothing to me, but look, I only took a little bit, but it wasn't yours in the first place, though. Verse 18 says, and there was a man from the country of Elam who was leisurely going on the road, seated upon his donkey, which carried a fine mantle of diverse colors. And the mantle was bound with the cord upon the donkey. And a man was on his journey passing through the street of Sodom when the sun set in the evening. And he remained there in order to abide during the night. But no one would let him into his house. And at that time there was in Sodom a wicked and mischievous man, one skillful to do evil, and his name was Hadad. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the traveler in the street of the city. And he came to him and said, Whence comest thou, and whither doest thou go? And the man said to him, I am traveling from Hebron to Elam, where I belong. And as I passed the sunset, and no one would suffer me to enter his house, though I had bread and water, and also straw and provender for my donkey, and I'm short of nothing. So this man, he's straight. He's just trying to find somewhere to lay his head. You know what I mean? It's nighttime, and it's not good to travel at night, definitely in that time period. You know what I'm saying? So he trying to find somewhere to lodge just until the morning and then get back on the road. This evil dude spotted him, named Hadad. And he questioned, he's like, what's going on with you, basically? Verse 22, and Hadad answered and said to him, all that thou shalt want shall be supplied by me. But in the street thou shalt not abide all night. And Hadad brought him to his house. And he took off the mantle from the donkey with the cord, and brought them to his house. And he gave the donkey straw and provender, whilst the traveler ate and drank in Hadad's house. And he abode there that night. So he brought him in. The evil man brought the stranger, this traveler, into his house. This is going to be a lesson for a lot of people right here. Verse 24. And in the morning, the traveler rose up early to continue his journey. When Hadad said to him, wait, comfort thy heart with a morsel of bread and then go. And the man did so. And he remained with him, and they both ate and drank together during the day when the man rose up to go. And Hadad said to him, behold, now the day is declining. Thou hadst better remain all night, that thy heart may be comforted. And he pressed him so that he tarried there all night. And on the second day, he rose up early to go away. So the host who's hosting the traveler, he convinced him to stay again. Man, look, don't go out there, man. You know, man, it ain't got nighttime again, man. We might as well chill and relax one more night. This is what he told him, basically. All right, but it's going on to proceed and constantly progressing. So he rose up early to go away when Hadad pressed him, saying, comfort thy heart with a morsel of bread, and then go. So eat before you hit the road, bro. It's all good. You gonna get there. It says that he remained and ate with him also the second day. And then the man rose up to continue his journey. And Hadad said to him, behold, now the day is declining. Remain with me to comfort thy heart, and in the morning rise up early and go thy way. And the man would not remain. So he like, bro, I didn't chill 2 days, bro. I'm ready to go. I got to keep moving. He said he would not remain, but rose and saddled his donkey. And whilst he was saddling his donkey, the wife of Hadad said to her husband, behold, this man has remained with us for 2 days, eating and drinking. And he has given us nothing. Now remember, when Hadad came to him, he offered him, he said, hey man, come to my house, I got you. Whatever you need, I'm going to cover it. So now that the man is trying to leave and go about his business, his wife come out and say, man, this man had 8 hour food and he ain't even offered us nothing. And this is the mentality that a lot of people have with trickery and manipulation and usury. You know what I'm saying? Where they will come in and offer you something, but they not offering it to you in sincerity. They offering it to use you and get some out of you. All right, continuing on, he say, behold, this man has remained with us for 2 days, eating and drinking, and he has given us nothing. And now shall he go away from us without giving anything? And her dad said to her, be silent, hey, be quiet. And the man saddled his donkey to go, and he asked her dad to give him the cord and mantle to tie it upon the donkey. And her dad said to him, what sayest thou? Like, what you talking about? And he said to him, that thou, my Lord, shall give me the cord and the mantle made with diverse colors, which thou didst conceal with thee in thy house, to take care of it. And her dad answered the man, saying, this is the interpretation of thy dream. So this dude, he know that he gave him a mantle and a cord, his belongings. Her dad, who hosted him, now is telling him, look, bro, you had a dream, you tripping. But I'm going to tell you the interpretation of your dream. So now it become a psychological mind game. Where he's saying, bro, I'm going to tell you what's going on. You didn't have no mantle. You ain't have no cord. This is another level of wickedness. It says, this is the interpretation of thy dream. The cord which thou didst see means that thy life will be lengthened out like a cord, and having seen the mountain colored with all sorts of colors, means that thou shalt have a vineyard in which thou wilt plant trees of all fruits. And the traveler answered, saying, not so, my Lord. For I was awake when I gave thee the cord, and also a mantle woven with different colors, which thou didst take off the donkey to put them back for me. And her dad answered and said, surely I have told thee the interpretation of thy dream, and it is a good dream. And this is the interpretation of it. So also along what happened, you had, of course, the tarot dealings. You had the people trying to operate with, the dark arts and dark magic, lying and manipulation, witchcraft. It says now, verse 32, now the sons of men give me 4 pieces of silver, which is my charge for interpreting dreams. And of thee only I require 3 pieces of silver. And the man was provoked at the words of her dad, and he cried bitterly, and he brought her dad to Sirach, judge of Sodom. Now look at how the judge operates. He says, and the man laid his cause before Sirach the judge. When her dad replied, saying, it is not so, but thus the matter stands. And the judge said to the traveler, this man her dad telleth thee truth, for he is famed in the cities for the accurate interpretation of dreams. And the man cried at the word of the judge, and he said, not so, my lord, for it was in a day that I gave him the cord and mantle which was upon the donkey, in order to put them back in his house. And they both disputed before the judge. They going back and forth. The one saying, thus the matter was, and the other declaring otherwise. And her dad said to the man, give me 4 pieces of silver that I charge for my interpretations of dreams. So you look at this, man. The man was only looking for somewhere to lodge. That situation turned to somebody inviting them into his house. So be careful of whose house you go into. Everybody who invites you in ain't got no good intentions, man. But that leads to now the man got to be in court. Now the man is having a lawsuit with this person because everybody who come with a suggestion or an offer that seems good, they're not coming with a righteous purpose, man. And her dad said to the man, give me 4 pieces of silver that I charge for my interpretation of dreams. I will not make any allowance, and give me the expense of the 4 meals that thou didst eat in my house. And the man said to her dad, truly I will pay thee for what I ate in thy house. Only give me the cord and mantle which thou didst conceal in thy house. And her dad replied before the judge and said to the man, did I not tell thee the interpretation of thy dream? The cord means that thy days shall be prolonged like a cord, and the mantle that thou wilt have a vineyard in which thou wilt plant all kinds of fruit trees. This is the proper interpretation of thy dream. Now give me the 4 pieces of silver that I require as a compensation, for I will make thee no allowance. And the man cried at the words of his dad, and they both quarreled before the judge. And the judge gave orders to his servants, who drove them rashly from the house. And they went away quarreling from the judge when the people of Sodom heard them, and they gathered about them, and they exclaimed against the stranger, and they drove him rashly from the city. So you had the people of the city to side with her dad in his evil, to drive that man away. And the man continued his journey upon his donkey with bitterness of soul, lamenting and weeping. Whilst he was going along, he wept at what had happened to him in the corrupt city of Sodom. The corrupt city of Sodom. Yes, it's my straight shiesty. Yes, it is. They're right, JJ. It's my default super shiesty. Beyond. And that ain't it. So I'm going to read some more verse. We're going into chapter 19. Get some more clarity. Chapter 19, and then we're going to go back into the Torah. But all of this, what we read in these examples, it's not like it's just some isolated incident. This was the nature of the people all together. This is the reason, aside from what's commonly known, what people have heard and been taught, that the Most High destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah based off people being homosexual there. No, this was the nature and the wickedness of the cities right here. Sodom, Gomorrah, and those three neighboring cities. So Joshua 19 verse 1 says, and the cities of Sodom had 4 judges to 4 cities. And these were their names: Sirach in the city of Sodom, Shekar in Gomorrah, Zabnak in Admah, and Minion in Zeboim. And Elijah, Abraham's servant, applied to them different names. And he converted Sirach to Shakra, Shekar to Shakrura, Zabnak to Kezobim, and Minion to Matzlodim. And by desire of their 4 judges, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah had beds erected in the streets of the city. Listen to this. I'm going to read that again. It says, by the desire of their 4 judges. The judge is supposed to have a level of integrity that people would honor and admire. You have to be impartial. You have to be somebody with a righteous mentality. You know what I'm saying? To be held in the position of a judge. But it's saying these judges, they desire, all 4 of them, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, to have beds erected in the streets of the cities. And if a man came to those places, they laid hold of him and brought him to one of their beds, and by force made him to lie in. And as he lay down, 3 men would stand at his head and 3 at his feet, and measure him by the length of the bed. And if the man was less than a bed, these 6 men would stretch him at each end. And when he cried out to them, they would not answer him. So strangers that's passing through this city, they all come up with a plan to say, put beds in the streets of the city. So when somebody come through here, we're going to lay them on their bed, force them in their bed. And if he's shorter than the length of the bed, we're going to pull him. 3 men at the upper torso, 3 at the lower torso. Like they trying to stretch the person's body to fit the bed. These demons, man. These folk got real demons in them. You talking about a night of the living dead. That kind of activity, man. These folks are really wicked. He said they will stretch the man, stretch him at each end, and when he cried out to them, they would not answer him. And if he was longer than the bed, they would draw together the 2 sides of the bed at each end until the man had reached the gates of death. So they pretty much torment him. If he was taller or longer than the bed, they try to, smash the man and shrink him by force, which is crazy. Verse 6 says, and if he continued to cry out to them, they would answer him, saying, thus shall it be done to a man that cometh into our land. And when men heard all these things that the people of the cities of Sodom did, they refrained from coming there. And when a poor man came to their land, they would give him silver and gold, and cause a proclamation in the whole city not to give him morsel of bread to eat. And if the stranger should remain there some days and die from hunger, not having been able to obtain a morsel of bread, then at his death all the people of the city will come and take their silver and gold which they had given to him. So they give them money. It's a game. They give them money, but then tell everybody, don't let them spend it here. So what good is the money if you can't spend it? In the hopes to say that if the man can't buy no bread to feed himself, they gonna let him starve to death. This is the nature, this is the spirit of the people in Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, verse 9 says, and those that could recognize the silver or gold which they had given him took it back. And at his death they also stripped him of his garments, and they will fight about them. And he that prevailed over his neighbor took them. They will fight about taking the clothes off the dead body. It says they will after that carry him and bury him under some of the shrubs in the deserts. So they did all the days to anyone that came to them and died in their land. So they didn't have a rule to say, well, if you a stranger and you from this part of the world. Now, whoever came through there got some kind of treatment. Said verse 11. And in the course of time, Sarah sent Elijah to Sodom to see Lot and inquire after his welfare. And Elijah went to Sodom, and he met a man of Sodom fighting with a stranger. And the man of Sodom stripped the poor man of all his clothes and went away. And this poor man cried to Elijah and supplicated his favor on account of what the man of Sodom had done to him. And he said to him, why dost thou act thus to the poor man who came to thy land? And the man of Sodom answered Elijah, saying, is this man thy brother? Or have the people of Sodom made thee a judge this day, that thou speakest about this man? And Elijah strove with the man of Sodom on account of the poor man. And when Elijah approached to recover the poor man's clothes from the man of Sodom, he hastened and with the stone smote Elijah in the forehead. Fighting this man, somebody tried to stand up for the guy. Dude, like, man, this must be your brother or something. They get into it. So then Elijah tried to get the poor man's clothes. The dude from Sodom come up with a rock and hit the man in the head. It says, and the blood flowed copiously from Elijah's forehead. And when the man saw the blood, he caught hold of Elijah, saying, give me my hire for having rid thee of this bad blood that was in thy forehead, for such is the custom and the law in our land. So the people in those lands, Sodom and Gomorrah, those neighboring cities, they had a custom. If I bust your head, you got to pay me, because by me doing it, I just saved you and got some evil blood or bad blood out of your body. You got to pay me for busting your head. Man, these folks, lunatic maniacs. This remind me of like, bro, this like Mad Max or something, man. Definitely, man, the perversion is a different level. Man. And they had a rep. People knew, man, don't go, bro, don't go past Sodom. Don't go through that. Yeah, man, so dude bust his head, and now he's saying, pay me for busting your head. You so crazy. Verse 18. And Elijah said to him, thou hast wounded me and requires me to pay thee thy hire? And Elijah will not hearken to the words of the man of Sodom. And the man laid hold of Elijah and brought him to Shachar, the judge of Sodom, for judgment. And the man spoke to the judge, saying, I beseech thee, my lord, thus hath this man done, for I smote him with the stone, that the blood flowed from his forehead, and he is unwilling to give me my hire. And the judge said to Elijah, this man speaketh truth to thee. Dude always, it's like the man always siding with the citizens of Sodom. He said this about his dad, remember? He said, dude telling the truth. All right, and that's not a righteous judge, man. You can't be taking sides. Hear both parties and then make a decision. I'm going to read that again, 21. And then the judge said to Elijah, this man speaketh truth to thee. Give him his hire, for this is the custom in our land. And Elijah heard the words of the judge, and he lifted up a stone and smote the judge. And the stone struck on his forehead, and the blood flowed copiously from the forehead of the judge. And Elijah said, man, that was wisdom. He said, if this then is the custom in your land, give thou unto this man what I should have given him. For this has been thy decision, thou didst decree it. So I'm going to bust your head then. So we say rob Peter to pay Paul. These folks busting heads. He bust his head. He turned around, bust the judge head and say, all right, now what you owe me, you pay him. Verse 23. And when the kings of Elam had made war, 22 says, and Elijah left the man of Sodom with the judge, and he went away. And when the kings of Elam had made war with the kings of Sodom, the kings of Elam captured all the property of Sodom, and they took Lot captive with his property. And when it was told to Abraham, he went and made war with the kings of Elam. And he recovered from their hands all the property of Lot, as well as the property of Sodom. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know Abraham was a hitter, man. Abraham was some dude who was just always polite. Even though he was very kind, dude went out to war. He went and they kidnapped his nephew. He came like, dude, I'm taking. I'm finna go get my nephew and everything that belonged to him. All right, so don't get it twisted to think that these men in scriptures was just some soft pushovers. No, man. All right, what we get? Okay, 24. It says, at that time, the wife of Lot bare him a daughter, and he called her name Paltith, saying, because the Most High had delivered him and his whole household from the kings of Edom. And Paltith, daughter of Lot, grew up, and one of the men of Sodom took her for a wife. And a poor man came into the city to seek a maintenance. And he remained in the city some days, and all the people of Sodom caused a proclamation of their custom not to give this man a morsel of bread to eat until he dropped dead upon the earth, and they did so. So he come to the city. He might have needed something on his carriage fixed. He might have needed some kind of help with a saddle for his donkey or a horse. And he ended up staying there. The people of the city conspired together. Say, don't get his man no bread or nothing. We want to see him starve to death. Let's see him drop dead. They all agreed to it, man. Verse 26, and Paltith, the daughter of Lot, saw this man lying in the streets, starved with hunger, and no one would give him anything to keep him alive. And he was just upon the point of death. And her soul was filled with pity on account of the man. And she fed him secretly with bread for many days, and the soul of this man was revived. And we finna find out why she fed him secretly. It says, for when she went forth to fetch water, she would put the bread in the water pitcher. And when she came to the place where the poor man was, she took the bread from the pitcher and gave it him to eat. So she did many days. 29. And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah wondered how this man could bear starvation for so many days. They're like, man, that dude's supposed to been dead, man. How is this guy constantly continuing on? She's sustaining him. Verse 30. And they said to each other, this can only be that he eats and drinks. For no man can bear starvation for so many days or live as this man has, without even his countenance changing. And 3 men concealed themselves in a place where the poor man was stationed, to know who it was that brought him bread to eat. And Paltith, daughter of Lot, went forth that day to fetch water. And she put bread into her pitcher of water, and she went to draw water by the poor man's place. And she took out the bread from the pitcher and gave it to the poor man, and he ate it. And the 3 men saw what Paltith did to the poor man. And they said to her, is it thou then who has supported him? And therefore has he not starved, nor changed in appearance, nor died like the rest? And the 3 men went out of the place in which they were concealed, and they seized Paltith and the bread which was in the poor man's hand. And they took Paltith and brought her before the judges. And they said to them, thus did she do, and it is she who supplied the poor man with bread. Therefore did he not die all this time. Now therefore declare to us the punishment due to this woman for having transgressed our law. And thinking about it, family, it ain't no surprise that these judges are corrupt, because we're dealing with that in today's time now. A lot of these judges who give out 50 years, 100 years, 80 years, 30 years to people. These same judges got, stuff on their computers. It's immoral pictures of they pedophiles. They homosexuals. They transgenders. You know what I'm saying? And these same people who they supposed to be in prison for their crimes, sitting in the judgment seat. Which is super wild, man. All right, continuing on though. Verse 35 says, and the people of Sodom and Gomorrah assembled and kindled a fire in the street of the city. And they took the woman and cast her into the fire, and she was burnt to ashes. Because this woman wanted to help this man and feed this man, they took her life in a way that was, it's unimaginable. They burnt her alive for feeding this man. Verse 36 says, and in the city of Admah, there was a woman to whom they did the like. For a traveler came into the city of Admah to abide there all night, with the intention of going home in the morning. And he sat opposite the door of the house of the young woman's father to remain there, as the sun had set when he had reached that place. And the young woman saw him sitting by the door of the house. And he asked her for a drink of water, and she said to him, Who art thou? And he said to her, I was this day going on the road, and reached here when the sun set. So I will abide here all night, and in the morning I will arise early and continue my journey. And the young woman went into the house and fetched the man bread and water to eat and drink. And this affair became known to the people of Admah. And they assembled and brought the young woman before the judges, that they should judge her for this act. And the judge said, The judgment of death must pass upon this woman, because she transgressed our law. And this, therefore, is the decision concerning her. So they have a law that says we should starve strangers. Verse 42, and the people of those cities assembled and brought out the young woman, and anointed her with honey from head to foot, as the judge had decreed. And they placed her before a swarm of bees, which were then in their hive. And the bees flew upon her and stung her, that her whole body was swelled. And the young woman cried out on account of the bees, but no one took notice of her or pitied her. And her cries ascended to heaven. And the Most High was provoked at this, and at all the works of the cities of Sodom. For they had abundance of food and had tranquility amongst them, and still would not sustain the poor and the needy. And in those days their evil doings and sins became great before the Most High. All of this is processed and equated to why the Father destroyed those cities, man. Verse 45 says, and the Most High sent for two of the angels that had come to Abraham's house to destroy Sodom and its cities. And the angels rose up from the door of Abraham's tent after they had eaten and drunk, and they reached Sodom in the evening. And Lot was then sitting in the gate of Sodom. And when he saw them, he arose to meet them, and he bowed down to the ground. And he pressed them greatly and brought them into his house. And he gave them victuals, which they ate, and they abode all night in his house. And the angel said to Lot, Arise, go forth from this place, thou and all belonging to thee, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of this city. For the Most High will destroy this place. And the angels laid hold upon the hand of Lot, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hands of his children, and all belonging to him. And they brought him forth and set him without the cities. And they said to Lot, Escape for thy life. And he fled, and all belonging unto him. Verse 51, then the Most High rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah, and upon all these cities brimstone and fire from the Most High out of heaven. And he overthrew these cities, all the plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground. And Adu, the wife of Lot, looked back to see the destruction of the cities, for her compassion was moved on account of her daughters, who remained in Sodom, for they did not go with her. And when she looked back, she became a pillar of salt, and it is yet in that place unto this day. All right. So there's just more details behind why the Most High destroyed those cities. Now we'll go back into the 66, man. Yeah, these folks super wicked. From the judge on down. Let me see, let's go to Leviticus. Because if we go back, for those who came in late, we went to the origin and the people of those lands to find out that these are the children of Ham. Your Cushites, Egyptians, Ethiopians, and Canaanites. Not our people. Canaanites. So we're in Leviticus 18. All of this is why those cities was overthrown and burned. Then if you haven't saw, you got Ron Wyatt showing where in that area, sulfur. When you hear fire and brimstone, that brimstone is equated to be sulfur, which if you light sulfur, it'll burn so long. You know what I mean? It's like it'll have no end of burning. I think I showed it in a message prior to. Well, I'm in Leviticus 18 though. Leviticus 18:1. So this is admonishment for us. It says, and the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, I am the Most High, your power. After the doings of the land of Egypt, children of Ham, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, children of Ham, whither I bring you, shall ye not do. Neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. So at this time period, we've been taken from the house of Aaron, the furnace of Aaron, the house of bondage. And the Most High is saying, I'm taking y'all to the promised land. The things that those people do in the land, the promised land, the land of Canaan, don't y'all adopt none of their ways. Neither the land that I just delivered y'all from, where y'all coming from, Egypt, Mizraim, don't y'all bring in none of their ways into this land. Verse 4, ye shall do my judgments and keep mine ordinances to walk therein. I am the Most High, your power. All right, so now he's finna give us the ways of the people in the land. Verse 5 says, ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Most High. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him, to uncover their nakedness. I am the Most High. So this is talking about incest. Verse 7. The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shall thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. The parents having relations with the children. This is what those people were doing in those lands. In Egypt and these Canaanites, you know what I'm saying, who was occupying the land before we got them. These are the practices that they were taking part in. It says, the nakedness of thy father's wife shall thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. You don't deal with your father's wife. The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad. Even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. So the step sibling, you don't supposed to be having no dealings with them. But remember what we read in Joshua 18 about the 4 times in a year. This is the practices that these sick practices that these folks were taking part in. Verse 10 says, the nakedness of thy son's daughter, or the daughter, or thy daughter's daughter, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover, for theirs is thine own nakedness, your grandchildren. It says, the nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Your half sibling, you're not supposed to be having dealings with. You're not supposed to be laying down. Thus saith the Most High. Verse 13. Hold on. No, 12. It says, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. She is thy father's near kinswoman, your auntie. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, for she is thy mother's near kinswoman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother. Thou shalt not approach to his wife. She is thine aunt. Not even your uncle's wife. Like, none of that's supposed to be going on. But this is the practices that these people were involved in. Immorality. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law. She is thy son's wife. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. No, you're not supposed to deal with your son's wife or your daughter-in-law. It says, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness. No, you don't deal with your brother's woman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter. Neither shalt thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness, for they are her near kinswomen. It is wickedness. You don't deal with none of those people like that, man. Neither shalt thou take a wife to her sister, to vex her, to uncover her nakedness, beside the other in her lifetime. Also thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness. A lot of people was encouraged and inspired and motivated by August Alsina to take part in it. You know, and that's sick. All right, so that's a level of freaky, you know what I mean, and a lack of control, man. That it's a spirit. Gotta be delivered from that, man, if you're dealing with it. And you can be. Verse 20 says, moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife, to defile thyself with her. You don't lay down with somebody else's wife. 21, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy power. I am the Most High. Now, this brings me to the thought of what happened recently, right? I forget what city it happened, but it just came out. This real life. It was an underground ring where it was like maybe 8 people, 8 adults were being paid to take advantage of children between the ages of 6 and like 13, 6 and 17. For educational purposes is why I'm mentioning this, YouTube. Don't flag. Sick, man. This the time that we live in. And the enemy and his ministers will have it so. They want us to be quiet about this type of stuff. They don't want nobody to have no moral compass about how they deal. But the Father in his wisdom, he gave it to us right here. Here go the blueprint. All right, but it's people who practicing and living these lifestyles, taking pleasures in these activities. And so the demon in them, when you bring the word of the Most High to them, they don't want to hear it because you're going to uproot them out of their house, out of their host. These demons like parasites. And so once you tell them, that's wrong, oh man, they get offended. So much so they want to fight and they want to kill. When we read in Joshua, man, the people in Sodom and Gomorrah were violent people. And I got a little more to get on it. Verse 22. No, let me finish 21. It says, thou shalt not let any of thy seed, your children, pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy power. I am the Most High. And this same Molech is one of the gods of these Jewish people. This is who they serve, man. This is who they glorify. You know what I mean? Margaret Sanger. And a lot of them being used by the same demon, not even knowing. You know what I mean? Talking Aleister Crowley. I ain't even went into the tunnels of Typhon. I ain't went into all that. But the reason why you see these warlocks and witches and, you know what I mean, they want to take part and get the adrenochrome, the Pizzagate scandal, all that type of stuff, where they got certain websites online. You got certain toys that's high price. Like it's why is this little fluffy doll $40,000? Because they using it as a front for trafficking children. And like I'm talking about in that event that just happened, what just came out in the news, people, like I said, they were paying these folks to abuse the children, and not only the children, but animals. Bringing us to the next verse, verse 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is abomination. Yeah, so the same gender laying down, that is abomination to the Most High. Not supposed to be no man and man, male and male, female and female. No. Verse 23, neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Now we talking bestiality. Keeping in mind, family, verse 3 told us, don't do after the ways of the people in these lands. This is what was going on while we were brought into the promised land and these other nations were screwed out. This is what they was doing. This is what these Egyptians were doing. What many of our people say, yeah, I'm an Egyptian. I descend from the Egyptians. A lot of them might be. But this is the history that they won't bring out. They get fascinated and say, man, we had so much gold and we the ones that built the pyramids and all of this other stuff. But they're not going to go into this part, the sicknesses of those same people. I'm not no Hamite. That's what the Egyptians are. I'm a child of Shem. I descend from the bloodline of Shem. I'm Shemitic. I'm a real Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? And they have those who serve Molech, they have a problem with us saying it because it takes away the veil of confusion. It exposed them for who they are. They're not the people, they imposters. Verse 23, Leviticus 18:23. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things. For in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. And the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it. And the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants. The earth is tired of these folks. Yeah, the earth is affected by sin and iniquity. So much so, the Father let us know here, said, man, that the land itself vomit these people. The land disgusted with how these folks operate. Verse 26, ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations. Neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. So even the Gentiles that want to cleave unto the house of Jacob, not supposed to be taking part in it. Like where I see sometimes where people say, well, you know, long as it ain't, you know, a brown person, long as it ain't a Hebrew. No, man, that spirit period don't need to be in the earth. Because you got weak-minded Hebrews who are fascinated with Gentiles. And they'll say, well, I want to be like the Gentile nation. And they go take part in everything. Then they keep the cycle going, man. Verse 27. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. That the land spewed not you out also, when ye defiled it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them shall be cut off from among their people. Therefore shall you keep mine ordinance, that ye commit not any one of these abominable customs, which were committed before you, and that ye defile not yourselves therein. I am the Most High, your power. And just in case, and some people will say, well, I didn't hear in those verses that he said, you know, death is a penalty, so it's not really severe as some will make it. We're going to flip over to Leviticus 20. Leviticus chapter 20, what is the judgment? And some don't understand what it is when he say you're going to be cut off from your people. What's supposed to happen? And some think that the Most High just accept that lifestyle, and he's okay with it. He's not. Leviticus 20, verse. Ooh, let me go up some. Let me go up. Let's go to 10. Let's go to 10, right? Leviticus 20:10 says, and a man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. The Most High said, the judgment for that is death, man. You lose your life behind it. Both of them. Sneaking and geeking and all that, both of them supposed to be put to death. That's the judgment of the Most High. Verse 11, and a man that lieth with his father's wife have uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. And if a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have wrought confusion, their blood shall be upon them. The Most High ain't playing about these sins. Verse 13, if a man also lie with mankind, if a man lay down with another man, as he lieth with a woman, you talking about rubbing your legs and laid up, and both of you have. Both of your voices is deep. You got to keep putting shaving cream, shaving your beard and all that to try to look like you ain't got no facial hair. That's against nature. In that, you should be convicted. Man got to go try to put on makeup and put a wig on. And now they done came to the point where they going into the doctors. They going into the physicians. And they having surgery to even look more like women and female. But just because you change your shell, or you go and you cut some parts off, or you take some pills for the women to sound more masculine and have a deeper octane, that don't change who you are. The Most High made and fashioned you to be male or female. So no matter what you go to, whatever doctor, you go to Florida or Brazil, and none of that don't matter. You still what you were created. That woman still gonna have that cycle. That woman gonna still need that man in order to reproduce. And in doing so, though, the Most High said, if a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. And what happens a lot of times, this spirit get encouraged. People, you calling this female, bruh. You actually addressing her as that. You calling, you talking to this man, full grown man, he taller than you, shoulders wider than yours. Talking about some girl. He smacking his lips and all that. People just accepting it. A lot of times it is the women. A lot of the women just stroke the ego of these evil spirits. Glaze them, as the young people say. Making them even more comfortable in their sin. Man, that ain't know the Most High, man. You ain't never said nothing to him. You ain't never addressed that spirit and let them know, man, that's ungodly, unholy, and ain't right. You clapping and parading for them. That's against the Most High, man. Most High said the penalty for that lifestyle and that action is death. Verse 14, and if a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness. They shall be burnt with fire, both he and they, that there be no wickedness among you. So individual tonight, he want to deal with that woman and her mother. Father said, man, burn all of them. Verse 15, and if a man lie with a beast, talking about you're gonna mess around with a cow, with a horse, with a dog, with a cat, any animal, a monkey, like they got the humanzee, chimpanzee mixed with a human. Yeah. Laying down with these creatures, man, you got a whole different form of flesh. Man, you know it's something off in the spirit for a person to go do that. And if a man lie with the beast, he shall surely be put to death. And ye shall slay the beast. Slay the beast, why? Because that spirit can get in the animal. We're not oblivious to this. Why you think when the Messiah was calling the spirits out of the man, The legion said, well, suffer us to go into these pigs. Yeah, demons can get into animals. Man, that animal will be around here acting homosexual, acting gay. Verse 16, and if a woman approach unto any beast and lie down there too, thou shalt kill the woman and the beast. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. All right, so just to show y'all for some who might say, like I said, they say, well, we didn't see in the scripture where it actually said that death was the penalty for living that type of lifestyle. Now I got the blood off my hand. You ain't gonna be able to deny it, man. Let me see. I want to go to. Let me go to Genesis. Let's go here. Let's go to Genesis. Another point that we really didn't get to see from the nature of the men in Sodom. Genesis. I'm gonna go with 18. I'm almost done too. Genesis 18 or 19. So I'm gonna get 18 first. Backstory. We seen it in Joshua where the Most High sent the angels. He dispatched the angels, right? Before those angels came to those cities, Sodom and Gomorrah and whatnot, they stopped by Abraham's tabernacle. They brought the message and let them know Sarah gonna have a son. Sarah laughed. She denied it because she was afraid. But after he fed them, said he fetched a morsel of bread, and I think he had like some meat from a calf. After they ate, this is where we at. So I'm in Genesis 18:16. They then ate, had a discussion. Now the angels is headed on to Sodom and Gomorrah to go take note and account of what's really going on. Verse 16 says, and the men rose up from thence and looked towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Most High, to do justice and judgment, that the Most High may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. Verse 20. And the Most High said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me. And if not, I will know. Remember what happened with the sister, who they drenched her in the honey and caused the bees to sting her to death. So her cry went up to the Most High. 22. Now let me do 21 again. I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence and went towards Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Most High. And Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Will you destroy the righteous with the wicked? Because he understands his nephew is in that city. He's in those lands. 24, peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? So he asked him, well, if it's 50 righteous people in those cities, will you not destroy it? Verse 25, that be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked. That be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And the Most High said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. So if I can find 50 righteous people in those 5 cities, I'm going to spare it. But the land didn't get spared, so it wasn't 50 righteous people in it. 27, and Abraham answered and said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust and ashes. Peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy all the city for lack of 5? And he said, if I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it. So if it's 45 righteous, I'll spare it. And he spake unto him yet again and said, peradventure there shall be 40 found there. He said, I will not do it for 40's sake. He said unto him, oh, let not the Most High be angry, and I will speak peradventure. There shall 30 be found. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30. And he said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Most High. Peradventure, there shall be 20 found out. He said, I will not destroy for 20's sake. And he said, oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. This is my last time. My last question. Peradventure 10 shall be found now. And he said, I will not destroy for 10's sake. And the Most High went his way as soon as he had left communing with Abraham, and Abraham returned unto his place. So he counted on down. Now maybe if he would have got down to saying, Father, well, if it's 1, would you spare it for 1? Maybe those same cities will still be here. But it wasn't 10 in our family. So now I'm in Genesis 19. I'm almost done. 19 and 1. It says, and there came 2 angels to Sodom at even. And Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, behold, now my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and you shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, nay, or no, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into his house. And he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. So these angels, they ate with them. Broke bread with them, they ate, they came in. Verse 4. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young. All the people from every quarter. So now we're going into the wicked nature again. They didn't see 2 men. All they know is the 2 male figures. They don't know them. They didn't came and surrounded Lot's house, man. And it said not only the old, but the young, and they came from every quarter of the city. Verse 5, and they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us that we may know them. These dudes is so perverse and perverted, man. They said, man, we seen you bring some in, and I'll bring them out to us so that we can deal with them. We can lay with them. Like, it ain't processing like what's going on. These is men, first of all. Y'all ain't got, like, I can't even go into the mental state of this. You know these folks got demons in them. He said, bring them out that we may know them. Verse 6, and Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him. So he stepped out, closed the door behind him. Let me try to talk some sense into these guys. Verse 7, it said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing. For therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, stand back. Hey, watch out, Lot. Man, get out the way, bro. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon a man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. These dudes so violent, they finna try to break in the house, man, just to get to the angels. Just to accomplish what it is that they feel like they want to do in their flesh, man. Verse 10 says, but the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut to the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. They've been smoked with blind. Now they blind. And it ain't registered into them, man. We need to stop what we doing. They still not convicted. Said they weary, they searching for the door, still trying to get in the house where they blind, to the point these folks was exhausted, man. And understand again, these not just some scrawny dudes. These dudes muscular, they about fat, they all tall, short, different kinds, man. And this spirit is operating in these men. It says, and the men said unto Lot, hast thou heard any besides son-in-law and thy sons and thy daughters? And whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Most High. And the Most High have sent us to destroy you. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, up, get you out of this place, for the Most High will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. So they didn't believe him. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy two daughters which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. So his sons was destroyed, his sons-in-law. 16, and while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his two daughters, the Most High being merciful unto him. And they brought him forth and set him without the city. So even for them to touch him, the mercy of the Most High was imparted, because remember, when our father Jacob wrestled with the angel, it said the angel touched the hollow of his thigh, and it dislocated, pulled it out of joint. So an angel can touch you and damage you, but the Most High allowed Lot to have mercy, so much so they was able to make contact with him, not harm him, and then get him out of the city before it was destroyed. Verse 17. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain, escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And that's a message for anybody dealing with a homosexual spirit. And just seeing all together, really. Once the Most High allow you to repent and you change your ways, man, don't look back, don't go backwards. Don't go to the past after he done allowed you to overcome a stronghold or some type of evil spirit that had you bound, had you living a contrary lifestyle on your way to the lake of fire. Don't go back. And you got to understand, it say Satan will flee for a season. So the temptation or somebody might try to come back up to encourage it, reject it, rebuke it. You got power, you can rebuke it, bind it, that it don't be able to master you again. All right, so don't remember Lot's wife. Don't look back, don't go back. Verse 17. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life, look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain, escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, oh, not so, my Lord. Behold, now thy servant have found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die. Let me see. That might be it, what I want, right? Yes, indeed. That'll do. That'll do. Let's go to Matthew. Let's go to Matthew. I'm feeling ready to close. Yes, indeed. Going to Matthew. What did the master say? What did the Messiah say? Hamashiach. Matthew chapter 11. Matthew chapter 11. What? That's wow. A sodomite ad just came in. That's wow. Matthew 11, verse 20 says, Then began he to upbraid the cities wherein most of his mighty works were done, talking about the Messiah, because they repented not. All right, and you got to understand that your environment, people around you, people who you choose to associate with, people who you say you love, a lot of times in different cases, these same people in these scenarios can be reasons and causes of why one will not repent. Again, like I said, you got people who encouraging folks who live in these lifestyles. They're not telling them nothing to rebuke them sharply. They're not telling them anything that's going to cause them to be convicted so that they can repent. If you really love them, you're going to tell them something so that their souls won't be casted into the lake of fire and brimstone. And even if they don't listen or hear you, you're going to be able to show the proper way of loving by telling them, look, man, this is what's going to happen to you if you don't change your ways, if you don't repent. And get the blood off your hands. They won't be able to say what I didn't know. You know what I mean? So we want to keep that in mind. But these people didn't repent. Verse 21. Woe unto thee, Chorazin. Woe unto thee, Bethsaida. For if the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and Zidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre or Tyre and Zidon at the day of judgment than for you. And thou, Capernaum, which art exalted unto heaven, shall be brought down to hell. For if the mighty works which have been done in thee had been done in Sodom, it would have remained unto this day. So we seeing now what the Messiah is admonishing us on when he's talking to them is that he did works. They saw the miracles. They saw, you know what I mean, him do these supernatural things. They witnessed it. And even witnessing it and having front row seats to all that power and majesty, they weren't convicted to change their ways. But because of that, we have a level of a grace card because we did see it. So he telling them here, because I'm actually here present with y'all, performing these miracles, and y'all still rejecting me, everything that we done read about the wickedness of Sodom, he said it'll be more tolerable for Sodom in the day of judgment than for those people who witnessed it. All right, and so we want to adopt that mindset to say we don't want to be like the people in Capernaum. We want to hear it, receive it, accept it, repent, and then reform our lives, man. I say, for if the mighty works which have been done in thee have been done in Sodom, it would have remained unto this day. But I say unto you that it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for thee. Yeah, man, so we want to take heed to what the scriptures are saying. We don't want that prideful spirit, like when we started it. Pride is the beginning for when one departs from his maker. We don't want no parts in that. We don't want to be separated from the presence of the Most High. Let me go to Proverbs. Let me get this before we close. Proverbs 3. Question, comments, and concern before we close out. Just something else that came to mind. When it's talking about the travelers that came through Sodom. Oh, yeah. Question, comments, concerns, I can start dropping them in the chat if y'all got any before we close out. But I'm in Proverbs 3. And start with 27. So this is in, pertaining to like the nature of the people, how they were operating in Sodom and those neighboring cities when sojourners came through, travelers and strangers who were not native to those lands. Proverbs 3, and we take this for ourselves to apply it in our own lives today. Proverbs 3:27 says, withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of thy hand to do it. Say not unto thy neighbor, go and come again, and tomorrow I will give, when thou hast it by thee. 29. This is what we get to. Devise not evil against thy neighbor, seeing he dwelleth securely by thee. So you invite people into your home. You invite this person into your home. And they come and stay. And in them staying and dwelling with you and taking lodge or lodging with you, you start doing little evil stuff towards them. Well, they come there like, man, I appreciate bro or sister let me live with them for a short period of time or invite me over for the night, as I'm passing through the city. You in the next room or trying to conjure up a spirit against them. Or you trying to put some in their food. Or you in there gossiping about them and saying something, I can't stand this person. Like, why did you invite him in the first place? If that's how your spirit gonna be. Don't devise evil against a person who you bring into your home at your invitation. Devise not evil against thy neighbor, seeing he dwelleth securely by thee. Strive not with a man without cause, if he have done thee no harm. So these guys coming through the city, they ain't done nothing, and they creating problems for him. They say, well, this is the law of Sodom. If you bust his head, he got to pay you. Crazy, man. Crazy work, like they say. Yeah, so question, comments, concern. That's what we got, man. That's everything I got for today. At least that I will share. Prayerfully it was edifying. Prayerfully you learned something. Yes, indeed, you want to be humble. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, they Gentiles. Outside of the 12 tribes, you're a Gentile. Let me go up earlier into the chat, see what y'all was saying, if I missed anything. You said the audio not loud. So I'm seeing that at a fine time, I guess. And dropping them ads, okay. Advertisements. Let me see. Yes, all praise to the Most High for those who have repented from their lifestyle. Yep, and the pride ain't just, inclusive of that lifestyle. I'm talking about regular pride. Being proud, having an ego. Yes, indeed. Talking about wrestling. Wrestling, the sport in of itself is super sus. Yes, it is. What? Should say the new Zonovan took their definition of ham out. See, that's why it's important for us to have these books now. Like they really are cleaning and you know what I'm saying, swapping and taking away a lot of the information that a lot of us got. You know what I mean? Like 10 years ago from when we started up it, they sweeping it, hiding and burying it. Yep, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom to everybody who tuning in, who will tune in. Let's see. It'll depend on your context. This gotta be the toughest hustle you ever heard. Man, what? Let me see. Hold on, I forgot to. I need to get some too. Yep, yep. Let me see. I'm just trying to see what y'all saying in the chat before I close out. Yep. And judgment still happening. And, the Father would allow us time to get these things right, man. He will allow us time, to prove whether or not we're going to choose to hate him to the point where we be given over to a reprobate mind. You see, now he's saying he multiplied his mercy because the judgment now, he ain't gotta, rain down fire like that, like he did. I'm gonna let you live because the end of it is unimaginable. Give you a chance to correct yourself. Let me see. I saw that too. Yeah, you got sodomite couples that's adopting children. To groom them and abusing them. And yeah, and they adopting our children. I seen it, like that was one of the main popular ones. It was two Caucasian men adopted a brown boy. Come to find out they had been abusing him. Another failure of the church too, not rebuking these people, these spirits. Your choir director is gay because you can sing, you get a pass. Now you got it, the pastor's gay, and that's male and female. They in the church with the rainbow, they got the rainbow scarf on. They drag queen is teaching. I'm telling you, it's wicked. Yeah, and a lot of the pastors would take, they won't speak on it because they want the money. Yeah, man. It's probably I might be too far from the mic. Y'all still can hear, then all praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. We got balance. We got balance, man. Everybody ain't gonna love it. It's not good. Yeah, I rebuke that spirit. It's powerless against me. That spirit crazy. Hey, look, may anybody who curse me or my family and speaking evil, may it be multiplied in you. May it be multiplied. May your confusion gonna be multiplied. I ain't being none to you, man. I don't know what you talking about. The Most High get all the glory. It's all good. Everybody ain't gonna trust me, family. There's really a confirmation. Everybody shouldn't be agreeing. So when the devil come up, they let me know, oh, yeah, we done stomped on his head. You gotta tick him off. Yep. So in the meanwhile, though, if y'all think of any other questions, comments, or anything through the week after this, shoot the information. Shoot me an email to children of the prophets 144 at gmail.com. I know I still got to get with a couple of y'all. I did get y'all's emails. I had some stuff going on this week, but I'll be reaching out to y'all farther with him this week. Yep. So that being said, all praise to the Most High. Let us continue to endure. Let us continue to pour ourselves out so that the Father's Spirit can come in, deny ourselves to accept Him, even unto New Jerusalem. I love y'all. The Most High be with you. Shabbat Shalom.